Matthew 24, 29 to 31. In the discourse recorded in Matthew 24, Jesus speaks to his disciples about events that were soon to come upon Jerusalem and the covenant world centered there. After describing tribulation connected with that generation, he continues in verses 29 to 31. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the land mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. The language used in this passage is vivid and prophetic. The darkening of the sun and moon and the falling of the stars are not unfamiliar expressions in the scriptures. The prophets of Israel frequently used cosmic imagery to describe the downfall of nations and the collapse of political and covenantal orders. Isaiah spoke this way concerning Babylon. Ezekiel used similar language regarding Egypt. The shaking of the heavens signified the dissolution of a ruling order. In the same prophetic tradition, Jesus described the end of the Old Covenant world centered in Jerusalem. The temple, priesthood, sacrifices, and the national structure that defined Israel's covenant life were about to pass away. The tribulation he had just described would culminate in the destruction of the city and its sanctuary, events that brought the age of the law to its final close. The darkened sun and moon portray the extinguishing of that covenantal system. What had once governed Israel's religious life, the temple service, the priestly administration, and the sacrificial calendar, would no longer shine. The stars falling from heaven symbolize the removal of those authorities that once ruled the covenant nation. Following this imagery, Jesus spoke of the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. The reference draws directly from Daniel 7, where the Son of Man comes with the clouds to the Ancient of Days and receives dominion and glory. The emphasis is not on a descent to earth, but on the vindication and enthronement of the Son of Man in heaven. The destruction of Jerusalem served as the visible sign that the Son of Man had been enthroned and that his kingdom had been fully established. The judgment that fell upon the city demonstrated that the rejected Messiah had indeed been exalted. What Israel's leaders had denied became unmistakably evident when the Old Covenant order collapsed under divine judgment. Jesus then said that all the tribes of the land would mourn. The expression points to the tribes of Israel. Their mourning reflects the realization that the covenant nation had rejected its Messiah. The events that unfolded revealed the consequences of that rejection and confirmed the authority of the enthroned Son of Man. The statement that they would see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory echoes a well-known Old Testament motif. In the Hebrew scriptures, God is frequently described as coming on the clouds when he executes judgment upon nations. The imagery communicates divine authority and royal action rather than a physical descent through the atmosphere. In this way, the coming of the Son of Man represents the exercise of his kingly power. Having been given all authority, he came in judgment against the system that had reached its appointed end. The covenant mediated through Moses had served its purpose, and its termination marked the complete transition into the new covenant reality established through the finished work of Christ. Verse 31 continues with the sending of angels and the sounding of a great trumpet. In biblical language, angels are messengers, and the trumpet frequently signifies a royal proclamation. The imagery portrays the announcement of the completed kingdom and the gathering of God's people. The gathering of the elect from the four winds depicts the uniting of believers from every direction. Under the former covenant, worship was tied to a specific land and a central temple. With the passing of that system, the people of God were gathered into a new and universal reality, defined entirely by the accomplished redemption of Christ. The elect are those who belong to him by grace. Their inclusion in the kingdom rests not upon adherence to the former covenant structures, but upon the work that the Son of Man finished through his death and resurrection. When the old order came to its end, The new covenant stood fully revealed as the enduring administration of divine grace. Thus, the imagery of Matthew 24, verse 29 to 31 describes the climactic transition between two covenantal ages. The language of cosmic upheaval signals the dissolution of the former order. The appearance of the Son of Man reveals his heavenly enthronement, and the gathering of the elect proclaims the establishment of the kingdom, secured through his completed work. In this passage, the prophetic language of Israel converges with the fulfillment accomplished by the Messiah. The old covenant world fades, the authority of the Son of Man is manifested, and the people redeemed through his finished work are gathered into the everlasting kingdom.